In this video, I'm gonna go over the 4 phases of weight loss. So if you're looking to drop your weight and get in the absolute best shape of your life, I'm not talking about lose a couple pounds. I'm not talking about get in okay shape, but you're at a point in your life where you really wanna make dramatic changes to your physique and you wanna keep them off forever. Well, you're in the right place. So I'm gonna go over 4 phases, and if you don't have 3 out of the 4 phases, you won't see results. And if you do see results, they will be very short-lived. So I want you to pay close attention. So as I'm going over the 4 phases of weight loss, I want you to think as I'm going through the information and you're processing it, what stage are you at? Because you're at one of them. And in order to succeed, you need 3 out of the 4. Now, the first stage we're going to go over, which we'll call stage 1, is the comfort phase, all right? Now, in the comfort phase, this is the stage where you're overweight, you're fat, but you're not at a point where you want to actually, or you're ready to do something about it. It doesn't mean you're happy in this phase. It just means you're not ready to actually do something about it. You're not to the point where you're so upset, so uncomfortable that you're willing to do any effort to move forward, or at least not enough effort to move forward. That's why, hence, it's called the comfort phase. This is the only phase that you do not need. This is the phase that you do not want to be in, because at this phase right here, you will see absolutely no change. 0. Doesn't matter how big you get. Doesn't matter how bad you feel. As long as you're in the comfort phase, nothing will ever change. But I would probably be willing to bet if you're watching this video right now, you're not in the comfort phase. That's why you're watching this. So we're not even going to worry about the comfort phase, and we're just going to know this is a phase to stay away from. And if you are in this comfort phase, understand it's very important that you get to phase 2 as quickly as possible. Now, phase 2 is the desire phase. The desire phase. I love the desire phase because it's the initial fuel, it's the initial inertia that you're gonna need and that you have to even get started. Because you're going from a place of being comfortable to automatically a place of being uncomfortable. Why is it uncomfortable? Because in the desire phase, when you decide you're gonna lose weight, when you decide you're gonna get in the best shape of your life, it forces you to get outside your comfort zone, because you have to do things that you typically don't do. You have to do things that are no longer easy to you, seem simple. It's not that the things you're gonna have to do are hard. It's not that they're difficult. It's just you're not used to doing them. And like anything in life, when we do something that we're not used to doing, it's challenging. It's hard. We get frustrated. It gets difficult. All of those things you're going to face in a desire phase, but you have to go through this, and this is where it all starts. It's no different than a rocket. So I want you guys to imagine if you're Elon Musk and you're getting ready to launch a rocket to Mars. The most important thing is the launch. The most important step is getting it off the ground. But it's also the hardest. It's also when the rocket uses the most fuel, the most energy, the most resources, getting it from the ground to out of orbit. It requires an extreme amount of inertia. It requires an extreme amount of force, fuel to get up. Your weight loss journey is no different. You saying, I would like to lose weight, it's not gonna work. That won't get you out of step 1. It won't get you out of phase 1. It won't get you outside your comfort zone. You need a strong desire to change. You need a strong desire for things to change. One of my favorite sayings is by Jim Rohn. And he says, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. That is the desire phase. Now, phase 3 is the plan. All right, so phase 3 is the plan. Phase 3 is the what, the when, and the how. It's the plan. This is when you learn and figure out what exactly do you have to do to lose the weight? What do you have to do? Because you're going from a state of being overweight, being fat, not knowing what to do, to now you need an actual workable plan. Now, the thing is, we live in a time where there's a million people out here telling you what you need to do to lose weight. If you go online, there's a gazillion different ways, methods, styles for losing weight. Some of them work, most of them don't. So it's in this phase that it's important you find what you need to do that works for you. What you need to do that fits your current lifestyle. So for instance, I work with men over 30. Why do I choose? A lot of people ask me, why do you just work with men over 30? Well, I work with men over 30 because the plan that they need is different. Why is it different? Their lifestyles are different. Most of my clients are married or in serious relationships. A lot of times they have kids, they have careers. That's total opposite from a 19-year-old. That's the total opposite of a 22-year-old. So it requires a different plan because you can't give up your lifestyle. You can't forget about your family. You can't forget about your kids. You can't forget about your career. None of those things are going to change. Regardless, you're going to still have the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you need a plan that works for your current lifestyle. So again, the plan, you need to know what, you need to know when, and you need to know how. So when I say when are you going to go to the gym? When do you need to eat? How often? What does that look like? When do you need to work on your mindset? And then how? How are you going to make this work in your current lifestyle? How are you going to work out 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever the number is, but you're 50 pounds overweight? How do you make that work? Because someone that's 50 pounds overweight is not going to be able to do the workouts of someone that's already in shape. It requires a different kind of workout. It's a different how. They're trying to get to the same result, fit, but how they get there looks different. So the planning part is so important. This is also when you go in fine detail, what are the daily actions that you need to take? And this is a big step. This is a big part of everything, because if you don't understand the daily actions that you need to take, it's not going to work. But when you understand clearly what you need to do every single day, it takes all the guesswork out. And here's what I know. You focus on inputs and not outputs. What do I mean when I say inputs and outputs? Inputs is the activity that you do every single day that is going to get you the outcome, which is the outputs. Most people focus on the outputs. They focus on what the scale says. They focus on, when they look in the mirror, what they see. You have very little, if no, control of the output that you get. What you do have extreme control over is the input. The daily actions you do every single day that you know will eventually get you the results. So if you just focus on the inputs, the outputs have to come. If you focus on the outputs, it has nothing to do with the inputs. So we're focusing on the inputs. How many workouts you're going to do, how many reps you're going to do, how many sets you're going to do, what kind of food you're going to eat, how much protein, carbs, and fats do you need, how are you going to stimulate your mind every single day. Like, you have to have inputs for all of those. So that's the plan phase. Fourth phase is the belief phase. It's my favorite. It's my favorite phase that most people skip. It's my favorite phase that most people never get to. This right here is why most people get stuck. This right here is why most people never get started. See, the thing about number 4, the belief phase, you have to have this in order to go from phase 1, which is your comfort phase, to phase 2, which is desire phase. If you have no belief, you will never get off the starting line. You will never get out of phase 1. If you're overweight right now and there's no bone in your body that believes you can lose the weight, you won't even start. If you're overweight right now here's the trick about this. You, a lot of times, don't have to believe at the beginning. Because a lot of times we get our belief through other people. We get our belief through other individuals. See, a lot of times we're inspired. This is the beautiful thing about social media. Sometimes we'll go on social media and people are sharing their stories and they get inspired by other people's stories, other people's results, to then get started themselves because they think in their head, just maybe that could be me too. Just maybe this is possible for me. But you have to have some level of belief, whether it's in you or in someone else, to get out the starting block. Now, to get to the finish line, and what is the finish line? The finish line is you getting in the most incredible shape that you could possibly get in. And you deserve that. You deserve that. How do I know that? Because I have the belief in you. How do I know that? Because God doesn't create junk. God doesn't make mistakes. He gave you a perfect body. Perfect. You just sabotaged yourself. You put yourself in that situation. But here's the good thing about that. Just like you put yourself in a situation, you can get yourself out of it. But this belief is so powerful. Now, sometimes people use belief in others to get out the starting block, which then gives them that initial desire. Here's the problem with that. It fades over time. Majority of people, they stay right here. They stay in phase 1 and they never get out. Then a small majority, they get to the point where the desire phase where they say, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to drop my body fat. I'm going to have abs. I'm going to get bigger arms. I'm going to get bigger shoulders. They have that desire, but they have no plan and they have no belief. So it fizzles out and they go right back to phase 1. The only phase that you do not need and you do not want. They revert back to here. Why? Because it's their comfort zone. If all else fails, you will always resort back to your comfort zone. What is your comfort zone? Your belief system. So how do you raise your comfort zone? How do you change that? So even when you revert back, you're reverting back to a better place. Well, you have to raise your beliefs, aka you raise your standards. Remember a couple minutes ago, I told you for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. That is the beginning stages of raising your standards. No longer accepting your current situation. So this is no longer even available. It's not even an option. And then again, you get the desire to get better. You're hungry to get better. It gives you the fuel to get better. And then you go out and you get a plan. Now, where do you get a plan from? You get a plan from other successful people. You get a plan from people who have already done what you're looking to do. That's where you get your plan from. But unfortunately, most of the time we get plans from people who haven't even done what we want to do. That's what majority of people do. They talk to their friends and like, I'm going to get in shape. They're like, oh, that's awesome. I want to get in shape too. We can do it together. No, you can't. Because they don't know how to do it either. So you have to find somebody who has what you want, who's done what you've done. And I would say, my suggestion is not only have they done what you want to have done, but they've sustained it over a period of time. Because we all know people who have gotten in shape, who have lost weight, and then they gain it back. We all know people like that. It might even be you. And that's no disrespect to you or someone that's done that. That's awesome for them. But do you want to get temporary results or do you want long-term results? This is where coaches and mentors play such a huge role. Coaches and mentors, they're cheat codes because coaches and mentors have plans. Why do they have plans? Because they've done the work, not just themselves, but they've done it with other people. So not only is it a plan, it's a proven plan. It's a proven method. It is a blueprint that if you follow that plan, you will get the same results. Look, I'm a terrible baker. I know nothing about baking. However, if I find a chef, if I was to hire a chef to teach me how to cook, to give me recipes and walk me through and guide me, and when I make a mistake, he corrects it and we do it again. Eventually, I will be a phenomenal baker. That process will happen way quicker than if I try to do it myself. That's the benefit of coaches and mentors. How do you get more belief? Well, we talked about raising your standards. That's starting blocks. But you know how else you get belief? You get belief by taking action. Action. Most people don't do it. Most people say, well, I'm not ready yet. I'll start on Monday. Or they're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity. There never is a perfect time. There never is a perfect opportunity. There's always going to be something that comes up in your life. Always. You're busy at work. You think you're never going to get busy again? You're having marital problems. You think that's going to be the first time? Your finances aren't where they need to be. It's happened to you before and it's going to happen to you again. It's just the way life does. Look, I don't like winter. I don't like cold weather. But guess what happens every single year? There's a winter. It happens every single year. It's never going to be a perfect time. Here's the closest you're going to get to a perfect time is now. If you really want to change. These are the 4 phases of you getting in the absolute best shape of your life. It doesn't have to be complex. I understand it seems like it's impossible because you've tried so many things before. There's nothing crazy about this. It's a very simple formula, but what's easy to do is also easy not to do. It's easy to try to take shortcuts. Because a lot of people say, well, they don't even worry about the belief. This is the most important thing. Belief is the only thing that I said you need for stage 2, so stage 3, and it is stage 4. You need belief. Without belief, you can't even get out of phase 1. But most people want to skip this. Most people, they can't even tell me clearly what they want to do. For instance, if you're just saying, I want to lose weight, that's not enough. It's not clear enough. How much weight do you want to lose? Why do you want to lose? Who benefits from you losing that weight? How do you look physically? How does that change you mentally? The clearer you can get, the more belief you'll have. Look, I don't tell grown people what to do, but if I was you, make the change. There's never going to be a better time. Hopefully you guys got some value from this. I'll see you on the next one.